What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of Community Kitchen, where we're cooking up the latest and greatest gaming news headlines. And who better to join me today than Aiden? Why don't you say what's up?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Game Sandwich, where morality around here matters, and if you want good morality and want that little halo over your head, you have to click the subscribe button.
Ah, they should. I can walk the gray
If you
line.
ignore it, then you get devil horns.
Ah,
Facts.
yes. Just facts of life, man. But yeah, you should like this video, subscribe to Game Sandwich for more content just like this, and then join our community Discord. Links to that is in the video description down below. Now, Aiden, I'm going to ask you an age-old question of to be or not to be.
Oh, I
What do
was
you...
immediately going to say the cake is a lie, but okay.
That too. That too. But, would you rather to be or not to be?
To be always, because obviously not to be is to like be dead, it seems like.
50-50 shot there. But I only ask you that question because a game called Fable was recently revealed, and a big thing that you were very keen on is the return of the morality system. And this is a topic, shout out, do I take credit for this topic or do I give him his flowers just to gaslight him a little more?
Andrew, we care about you.
Yeah, he's adjacent though. He's adjacent, always adjacent.
Yep.
But he brought up the idea of the morality system and should games implement this more. And I think that's a fine topic of just like conversating right now, mainly because of Fable. And I want to first start off by highlighting at least a few of games that I think really do this well. And of course, Fable being one of them. 1, 2, 3. We don't talk about Legends. And then the other one for me that really stands out, and I'm sure you can speak to this more of like Baldur's Gate and all that, if they have it. I don't know. I'm going to bring up the Paragon system from Mass Effect. A classic example of good, bad, and then there's the endings that get attached to each of these choices. What are some like morality systems you are a fan of in other games? Or if I missed something, let me know.
I mean, the two that come to mind for me always are Knights of the Old Republic and Fable.
There we go. KOTOR.
Those right there are absolutely the best for the morality system, in my opinion.
And I want to ask for a game in 2026, hopefully, if it doesn't get delayed, should games implement this more? And that is a thing that I'm slowly coming to the realization not all games can do it. Where games are specifically crafted around this idea, sure, but not all games can do this. And I only say that because whenever we talk about morality systems and whenever we talk about these minute choices that make a difference towards your ending, games like Mass Effect 2, and albeit people didn't like the ending, but Mass Effect 3, your choices from game 1 to 3 mattered. Your choices of how you allied with certain people, that mattered. And I can confidently say Mass Effect 2 specifically, the choices you made in that game, the whole spoiler here, but the suicide mission at the end, it's like those things that made that game, as the youth say, peak cinema, where the writing was impeccable, it was pulling on all the emotions, and when you lost a crewmate, or if you did your missions, you never really lost anybody, but if you did lose crewmates, those deaths mattered. The sacrifices mattered. And I think that all boils down to writing. And that's why I'm saying not every game can do this. Not every game should do this. Because if you're going to attempt a morality system that has impacts towards of how your game ends and all that, you need to satisfy each of the choices. You need to have that really bad ending. You need to have that really good ending. You need to have that middle ground. And personally, from what I've seen in gaming, I don't think anybody else can do it. I don't think there's that many people.
I mean, I think that plenty of people could do it if you make an open world RPG. I mean, like, I harken back to, like, Fable and everything with, like, the original Fable was quite literally, there was a whole thing of if you make good choices, then you are good and you get a little halo. If you make bad choices, your meter starts going down and keeps going down, and eventually you turn into a devil, you know? And they continued that. That was such a good thing. It made you strive to want to do make good choices.
Hmm.
Because not only did people perceive you better in the world, you also like had a holy glow about you and everything.
Yeah.
And if you made bad choices, people treated you worse and everything. And I don't feel like enough games do the morality system. I
No.
don't feel like enough people use like reputation systems, you know?
Mm.
And like the morality system more or less like evolved into a reputation system. Like we could really agree on that, I think.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, instead of just being morally correct, like, oh, I made a good choice or a bad choice, it's like, oh, did I make a good choice for this person and a bad choice for that person? Like this person likes me more now and that person hates me more and everything. And like games like for instance like Red Dead Redemption 2 like do
I was
that
thinking about that. Yeah.
and everything. So there is a sense of morality in that game as well. Then like Knights of the Old Republic had it more classic style, where if it was like, oh, if you made choices that were like for more towards like Jedi, then you have obviously like the you're more on the light side of the Force, and then like if you make choices that were like more negative and everything, or if you treated people badly, or if you were mean to people, then you would start going down the dark side of the Force and everything, and like I think that that worked out really well for it. And there's upcoming games like they are supposedly working on the Knights of the Old Republic remake, and
Hopefully.
that's an amazing opportunity to bring back the morality system that was in Knights of the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
You can easily do the light side of the Force, dark side of the Force thing, and like Fable, for instance, we already know that they're doing that Playground Games is adding the morality system, but making it more in depth with like more reputation based and everything, and how people perceive you based on like key characteristics that you pick up and everything. And that just like the thing for Fable with Playground Games, that shows what people could do now with it. You
Yeah.
know, and so like modern day games like that could have more morality based systems where it's like, oh, if you end up like kicking an animal or something, people see it, people talk, people know, and now people are angry with you.
Eh, That right there is why I'm saying not everyone should just throw the dart and hope they hit the mark. It's only for the fact that Playground Games knows that they have the Fable IP and they have everything that comes with that, no pun intended, fabled morality system where it go like they killed it in Fables 1 to 3. Like they just had the juice, they had the sauce. And they know that if they deliver anything less than that or a half-bake attempt, it's all for nothing. And I often feel if developers are going to implement the system, it will be half baked, where it's like, okay, you're playing this game to get to an ending. In the case of Fable, of what I've seen so far, again, Final Judgment can't be cast until we get hands on sticks. That is just whether we like it or not. Fable can be a completely different game whenever we actually get our hands on it. But from what I've seen, there are those little moments, like you said, in between of like kicking a chicken and then you get that interaction whenever you walk down the street. That is a fully fledged out, fully thought of morality system where I can play a game like I love Fallout, I love Bethesda, I love everything they do. But I'm going to bring up Elder Scrolls Skyrim here, a game that I have played for God knows however many hours. But there's this feeling of like I can pick the Stormcloaks, I can pick whoever else, but I didn't feel that same vitriol that I did whenever I was playing like Red Dead 2, where I'm walking down Saint Denis and all of a sudden people are giving me weird looks, people are passing the comments, people are doing this. And like sure, you'll get the oh, you're a Stormcloak, or oh, like you don't come to the Cloud District often. But like those are like vanilla baked in lines. I'm talking make me feel like the most hated person in the universe. And then all of a sudden I'm feeling like, yeah, like that's either going to fuel my fire or force me to change and be good.
Yeah, I mean, like for like the original Fable games, for instance, like I hated when people would like call you out on the street and everything, and I would just be like, oh, whenever I had my evil playthrough and like people would call me out on the street and everything, I'd just be like, I would turn to them and just be like, okay, lightning.
Yeah,
Just,
exactly.
like that's that just brings into a whole nother thing that I feel like people should really do in games is that like I feel like not only with the morality system, but they should make it so that like every NPC essentially is expendable. You
Mm,
know? And I think that ties into it because the more that you can become the bad guy and the more you act like the bad guy, the more you are the bad guy, you know?
yeah.
And the more you have the opportunity to just like go crazy with power, I think the more people will abuse that power and like ultimately it'll make the morality system more fun. You know, like it really shows like, hey, do they abuse this power or do they just use it for good?
That's the thing as well. And I've I, I'm a defender of Starfield. I love that game. I had fun with it, but the moment to moment morality choices that you can make in that game, it often felt very bare. As if I'm not going to spoil any story because I know there's some people out there that haven't played it and they get upset whenever people talk about it. But there are moments in that game where you have to make big choices. There are moments where things happen and then you gotta counter and like gotta figure out something in the meantime. Those choices didn't feel substantial. I'll always go back to Mass Effect 2 where it's like the choices made in that game, I still feel the weight of them today. I still think about that choice of like in Mass Effect 3 where I'm like, do I side with the robots and save that whole race? Do I save them or do I side with this person and then wipe them out and then turn my back on them? It's like, yeah, like again, it all goes back to writing of how does the developer make me feel about my choice? It's not just the matter of like I spit in this person's face, I get the bad point above my head, and like, hey, that's it. That's the end of the morality system. It's like, no, make me feel the emotions of being that person in the boots or the shoes or anything, and like have that like bounce back. Have that thing of like, hey, make me feel like a piece of shit for killing this person. Like I need to feel something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not so much like we need the morality system, but so much more that we need consequence for all of our actions and everything. And I feel like not enough games do that. Like, you
No.
know, as much as like okay, like I can say like, "Oh man, I absolutely love Horizon Zero Dawn." Like that's like one of my favorite games that I've played like in the last like 10 years or whatever. But with that game, though, I will say they had a missed opportunity where they had clans. They could have done a whole morality system with the clans. They could have done like a reputation system with it, where it would be like, oh, if I did something good for one clan, another clan didn't like it or whatever. And they could have done like something more in depth. But instead, they kind of have like these kick gloves on for their protagonists and everything. You know, like games like Red Dead are nice where you have like a whole like oh you screw somebody over somebody else gets like mad about it and then hey later on that could impact you, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like I love that about story-based games, but I feel like story-based games they also don't like fully encapsulate it because everything is pre-scripted for it, you
Yes.
know, and everything is like oh yeah I know that if I do this and that's gonna happen blah blah blah, you know. And so like I feel like it's better if you have it in a game like, you know, like Fable or like a game like Fallout for instance. Like where some of the Fallout games have that too with Reputation where it's like, "Oh, you screw somebody over, somebody else will get angry, blah blah blah." Like I've heard like great things about Fallout New Vegas for that. I've never
Mm-hmm.
played it, but I've always heard that like it's really good and whatever faction you side with has an effect on the other factions and everything.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is like we need more of that. You know, we definitely need more of it, and I feel like no game nowadays wants to really tackle that and try to make them a new morality system or try to make a really in-depth reputation system that people care about.
Again, like this is a topic of modern gaming versus like can't believe I'm about to say it, but that's what it is. Retro gaming of the games that like we grew up on. People deem the Xbox 360 as a retro game console nowadays, and that gets me. That gets me right here. But like games made in that era, they were built and shipped out of the box and all in hopes of you play this game forever. They came complete. Games nowadays, and we've talked about this before on the channel, where they come half baked. There is a promise of like, oh, this update and like this DLC will fix the game and this thing will be the game you want us to be. But that's 6 months post launch, and I don't know if people can do that. I don't know if people can stomach that. And you know, signs of the times, as they say, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I keep saying it as like as a millennial here. Like I keep saying it that for like that different like new games have gone kind of downhill compared to their predecessors. And they kind of have. Like in a sense, like we've gained like this amazing technology where we can make graphics look fantastic and like lifelike and everything. And we can do so much. But like really though, now that we can do all this, I feel like we should take like everyone should take kind of take a step back and look at previous games and be like, "Oh, hey, what really worked back then? You know, what was really engaging and really fun? And how can we make this modern? How can we end up adapting it for nowadays systems?"
People don't want to do it, man. It's all getting the games out for microtransactions and all that. But do you have any final thoughts here on the morality system and how it's used nowadays?
Other than nothing other than I want Fable to come back with a vengeance and just be like, "Hey, look, morality system done right," and then everyone take notes.
There we go. That's all we need. And speaking of things we need you to drop a like on this video, subscribe to Game Sandwich for more content just like this. But as for this episode of Community Kitchen, I've been Kalo, joined by Aiden, and we'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.